Thank you very much. And it's good to be here with everybody. And I'm sorry we can't be in person in Poland, where I've enjoyed such warm hospitality on my prior trips. And I look forward, once this pandemic is over, to getting back to Warsaw and other parts of Poland and enjoying time with all of you and talking about how we can move businesses forward to the next normal. I want to focus on a few different points. But first, I wanted to introduce Rimini Street. We are a company that provides support for Oracle and SAP and Salesforce systems, where we can provide replacement for the annual support that's paid for to the vendor, as well as AMS services where we can run your system for you. This is the work that we do all over the world, and we have a new office in Warsaw that we opened just last year. And it would be our pleasure to talk to you about how we could reduce your costs and improve your system and your capability to thrive in the next. And let's go ahead and move forward and just talk about what we're saying here is that there's 3 stages coming out of this pandemic right now. The first one is survival. This is where we have to adjust costs along with the new revenue realities that many companies have to adjust to because of the pandemic time. Then, once we adjust those immediate costs, we have to exist. We have to keep the business running during this difficult time. And it may be another 12 to 24 months before we get through the full effects of the pandemic. And then we want to take advantage of the new environment where we move from just surviving to thriving in the next. And what is that next digitalization and capabilities that we need as a company to move forward and survive? The first thing you need to do, and my work with companies all over the world, is to focus on prioritization within your IT spend. You must look at every single line item that you're spending on in IT. If you leave any of those off the table, you're going to make mistakes that were made in prior downturns, such as 2008 or in 2001. When you didn't look at enough items, you left too many without asking questions about why does this help us with 2 important questions. How is this going to improve our competitive advantage in the world in fierce competition? And how is this going to fuel our growth in the future? If a project can't answer one of those 2 questions as being important, then it's probably not a project you should be working on today. In fact, I recommend that companies think about 4 different segments of prioritization: the infrastructure and compliance, the innovation and differentiation, the productivity and cost management, as well as enterprise software foundation. This is where Rimini Street focuses on the foundation, where we help companies use their existing software releases and updates for another 10, 15, 20 years without investing in new upgrades and updates and migrations to new software products that the vendors are trying to push, and instead focusing their spend and their resources on other components of their systems and IT. In fact, if you look at this equation, this is the fundamental problem that companies have to overcome. The financial equation just doesn't work. Most companies today will spend 90% of their IT budget on keeping the lights on, as we say, paying maintenance bills, paying for the AMS and running of the systems, paying for upgrades and updates and migrations that they really don't need. All of those things can eat 90% of your operating budget in IT, leaving only 10% for digital transformation. That's simply not enough. We have to do better, or you will not be able to compete fiercely on a global stage. Instead, we recommend 5 key thoughts of how to optimize your spend that will reduce, we believe, your daily operating costs to 60% of your IT budget, allowing you 40% of the budget for innovation. That is the kind of number you need in order to move forward and compete and thrive in the world ahead. So we have 5 recommendations for you today. The first one is to reduce your software maintenance costs, whether that's Rimini Street for your Oracle, SAP, or Salesforce, where we can cut your costs up to 90%. You can look at other types of software and find other solutions as well. So cutting the maintenance costs and not doing unnecessary upgrades and updates and migrations can save a significant amount of your IT budget. Second, think about using an AMS provider for application management, someone to run your systems for you and allow your staff to focus on higher value deliverables and focus on better outcomes from running your system, keeping your system running more smoothly. You're making sure your users are happy and that they're more productive because the system is functioning well. And then you want to take a look at leveraging a public cloud. If you're on older equipment, you have an old data center, and it's going to be a lot of money to replace the equipment and the storage for today's needs, we believe the public cloud offers a better alternative, and you can lift and shift your applications into the public cloud. And we help a lot of companies do that with their Oracle and SAP products today. Now, if you go the next step, once you're in the public cloud, you can manage that public cloud and optimize the usage and save even more money for your operation that you can put into digital transformation. Now, next and last on this list of 5 is optimizing your software licenses. Many companies have Oracle and SAP licenses that they pay too much money for. They're not appropriately sized to their business. The number or type of users don't match the business today because you've made changes over the years. Working with a third-party company as well as a company like Rimini Street, we can help you to optimize those licenses. So if you come back and focus in on these 5 areas, we believe you will be able to transform your IT budget and give yourself a significant additional amount of money that you can invest in digital transformation needed today. Now, the pandemic has been terrible on humankind, but it's been very, very good for forcing digitalization changes within companies years ahead of where we might be otherwise without the pandemic. We had to work with people working from home. We had closed offices. We had to get deals and transactions completed without having the ability to work with paper in the office. All of these digital transformation technologies and collaboration tools have moved us forward years ahead in many countries. And I would say in Poland, we have a very similar situation where we are able to move companies forward in digital transformation. But you have to be able to pay for it, and you have to have the resources to implement that technology. By taking these 5 steps, you could significantly reduce your current IT costs, focus on alignment with the business to allow the business to move forward to the next, and be in a position to thrive as we come out of the pandemic over the next 12 to 24 months. So I strongly encourage all of you to think about that prioritization. Be honest with yourself, with your company, put everything on the table to evaluate. And if there's projects that just are not going to provide competitive advantage or help you with growing, then put those projects off until future years and focus on the things that are going to grow your business and take advantage of where we are coming out of the pandemic over the next 2 years. Thank you very much, and I hope this information was helpful.